Hey guys, I'm back with my other series, Relic Razor, where we talk about just gems of metal past, I guess. Unlike 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should, some of these are bands that are probably in everyone's collection. Just talking about cool stuff. I think a lot of it is more like, not quite like the level of like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, sort of more cult gems, but you know, it's a bit of a mixed bag. This one I want to dedicate to the first band, Piledriver, and especially Gord, who died very recently, which is a real loss for the speed and heavy metal community. This is their debut album, Metal Inquisition. Really cool. They did 2 albums as Piledriver before going on more of a thrash road with the Exalted Piledriver. I may have butchered some of the ordering and stuff of that. They're one of those bands where these 2 early Piledriver records, especially this one, is more what I'm familiar with. But yeah, absolutely amazing record. Just balls to the wall, heavy metal, speed metal from Canada. Really, really great stuff. I only actually got this one recently, as the sad passing of Gord was what kind of prompted me to be like, oh yeah, that's an amazing record. I don't think I own that one. No, I don't. Thankfully, Shadow Kingdom have reissued it literally this year, and this is the Pile Puke variant. I'm not going to get all of the vinyl out. I just thought that was kind of cool that they came up with their own name for it and this weird looking vinyl. So yeah, that's cool. I'm going to leave that out, so I'm going to put that on straight after this video, real nice and loud. Next we have Lizzy Borden, Give 'Em the Axe, the pre-album, I think, EP. This is my favourite release by the band. Just, again, really good, kind of powery, speedy thrash stuff. Very, very nice and fast, over-the-top, crazy vocals. I'm going to try not to talk too much about each release and just more show them just in a kind of let's look at some cool records way. Maybe you guys can have some input in the comments which of these you love, who you think should be in one of these videos. Next we have Hypertrace by Scanner. I think like Warp 7 is one of the best German power metal songs ever. I always think of this as like a much heavier cosmic version of Halloween. Yeah, really cool album. Scanner are a really good band. There's quite a lot of German stuff in here, so be prepared for that. But next we have American power kind of epic heavy metal legends Steele, their second album, Guardians of the Flame. There's a couple different cover artworks. I actually prefer this one. This is the Music for Nations version for here in Europe. Yeah, really cool. The vocal performance on this really stands out as well. I think has got some of the best vocals. So I'm just looking at the back. Some cool like drawing-y type thingy. But yeah, like a sketch of this. But yeah, amazing vocal performance especially. Next, speaking of amazing vocals, some of these, but in fact quite a few of these bands have just played a Keep It True Rising, the 2nd edition, which just happened in Germany, which I was at, which was probably the best weekend ever. So there's quite a few bands from that in here just because, you know, it's refreshing of the mind. And the next one is Thundersteel by Riot, or Riot 5, or Riot V, depending how you know them. Which was one of the highlights for me at that weekend, was seeing this album performed in full, in order, just perfectly. Obviously, the only remaining member from this is the bass player, whose name has just completely gone out of my head, and they've hidden it, so they're really trying to fuck me over. I'm really sorry for that. But no, the band did amazingly, especially speaking of great vocal performances. This, of course, has one of the best vocal performances, I think, in heavy metal ever. And Todd really nailed this material. He sung it perfectly. And when they did some of the other classics, you know, like Swords and Tequila and stuff, he can, you know, none of it felt wrong. He just pulled it off brilliantly. So yeah, bonus shout out to Todd. But yeah, Thundersteel by Riot. To me, that's one of those albums where it's like, if someone asks what heavy metal sounds like, this is the answer. Let's just put stuff down here and hope that the floor is clean. Next up we have Denmark's Witch Cross. Did I put it in here? Ah, yeah, I did. This is a very convenient little nerdy bit, but got to meet those guys and get this cool little autographs on that. Really nice people. They're all Danish except the singer, I think, who's from the UK. Not that has much relevance, but I have to say something while I put this away. Yeah, really cool. They were the first band of the weekend. They played the pre-show at Keep It True, and they were just crazy. I'm going to be like one of those pricks who comes back from a gap year and mentions it every 5 minutes. So yeah, you're going to have to bear with me with that. I'm still on kind of cloud 9. Next, another German band. Not, well, they weren't German, but we have Gravestone, Back to Attack. the last couple albums, this and Creating a Monster, which you can see the amazing artwork there, and some other great gems in there, especially Stranger. I love that. I either have had this on here or will have it on here. It's not in this video, I don't think. But yeah, I think they share a drum with Gravestone, actually. Really good. Again, one of those just cult German gems. They started out a bit more rocky and went more proper heavy metal. But, you know, tracks like I Love the Night, Won't Stop Rocking, just quintessential German heavy metal. Next we have a British band. We have Mythra with this is the Death and Destiny LP, which I think is basically just the EP of the same name and some other either recorded compilation or demo tracks. I'm not too sure on the backstory of this one, but it's basically, it's like a 13-track, 45-minute album. But yeah, it's, I guess, the album version of the EP, which is quite a hard one to get the original EP of. Really cool. I guess more like hard-hitting new wave of British heavy metal. It's very much like, it's got quite kind of dirty, almost aggressive sound, but there's still some of that rockiness definitely in there too. Next up from Sweden, we have the self-titled album by Torch, which also includes the Fire Razor EP. You get the double artwork. I love it when you get a full, especially with CDs, when they include an EP and you get a full panel of the artwork. I find that really nice. And also some bonus tracks on top of that. So this is a really nice addition from Hellion Records in Brazil, I want to say. Somewhere south, yeah, Brazil. Love this album. Warlock, Watcher of the Night, some classics, of course. There's some really nice vocals on Beauty and the Beast that just make me think of a more heavy metal, more extreme and gruff version of Paul Stanley. You can make of that what you will, but yeah, I love this album. I love this very blue lady on the cover. I think, is that a lady? I say that's a lady. No, I'm not too sure. Well, whatever they are, they're very cool looking and very blue. So we're all about the blue thing. Crystal Knight from Denmark. If you couldn't tell by this artwork, is of course another cult gem. You can, people kind of, there's this group on Facebook called like Bad Heavy Metal Art from the 80s or something like that. I unironically love this style. To me, there's just something, I guess, having grown up when I first got into metal, it being more like power and old heavy metal and new wave of British heavy metal. This is the kind of artwork that you encounter. So to me, like these kind of ultra $10,000 Photoshop, super, you know, fancy album covers, to me, they just look really alien and plastic, whereas there's something about stuff like this where it feels magical, I guess. It still kind of sets off that childlike wonder. Yeah, Crystal Knight. I think they only did one album. You get the rough demos on here as well. No Remorse out of Greece. I'd love to, I don't know if they do anything anymore, but I imagine this would be an amazing one to witness live. They have a really cool sound. They have some synthy bits that remind me of Saracen from the UK, but they're a bit heavier than Saracen, I would say. Very epic kind of sound. Yeah, really cool. Kind of medievally. Yeah, that's always good. Now, a nice little EP, some high-speed metal from Obsession with their Martial Law, which I think is one of the coolest album covers ever made, although it's a bit dark in here, I apologise. You can just see, let me turn that, there we go, that's more in focus. Yeah, really cool EP anyway, just heavy, kind of speedy, powery goodness. It's got a shitload of Marshall stacks on the album cover, what's not to love. Now talking of speed metal, I don't think it really gets any higher quality than Agent Steele. This is Unstoppable Force. This is an original tape, so I'm trying to be careful. It's so old that my center labels have detached from it. But yeah, it's really cool. I love this album. Both the first two albums and the EP are really great. This is the only one I own though. There's probably, I don't know, I can't really pick a favourite. But yeah, Agent Steele, if you like speed metal, then Agent Steele is really as essential as it gets with, you know, them, Jagdpanzer, them must-have, absolutely essential. Next we have Digital Dictator by Vicious Rumours, which I think is one of those albums which is like a perfect time machine. It's an 80s record, but at the time, I mean, I wasn't alive then, but listening to it compare it to other records of the same year, it feels futuristic. Now living in the future, it feels kind of past, but also futuristic. There's something really unusual about it. The title track, Digital Dictator, is like if Queensryche had access to a time machine and played a bit faster. I don't know. It's really a unique album. I can't really describe it very well, but definitely if you like kind of a touch of progressiveness, but that more comes out in the form of crazy guitars and just really amazing epic songwriting that's very engrossing, then yeah, that's a must-have. The more primitive side of such a sound would be probably Sentinel Beast with their Depths of Death. Another cult classic on from Metal Blade Records' heyday, one of the ones that didn't really break out too well, I guess, but definitely has a cult following. I think songs like Dogs of War are definitely like a completely relevant and up-to-date metal song, even though they're quite old. So yeah, I like this one a lot. Very bit more heavy than Vicious Rumours, but they've kind of got a similar feel. Maybe I just say that because I bought them at the same time, so I associate the two. Now, fuck, what's the order of these? Let's do some more vinyl next. Everyone likes some more vinyl. So we have Cities with the Annihilation Absolute. I couldn't remember which order those words were. This is alliteration really fucks me. This is the EP version. The reason I specify that is because there is an album version where they basically took away this amazing drum tank thing, which in itself annoys me. I think it's because they changed drummer, so they had to basically put in some brick walls because, okay. The album's great, nothing against the album. The future drummer is great, nothing against him. But to me, the EP version is the real classic. It's just... musically, they're kind of similar, of course, but there's something about this that I prefer a little bit, along with the fact that the artwork really is much cooler, in my opinion. I bought this off the artwork, just knowing I'd love it, and I made no mistake there. It was a really killer album. I mean, this cost me £9, which is like 10 euros or dollars, so no mistakes were made. Album's great, EP's greater, and especially if you like cool drum tanks more than bricks, you get this one. Next we have Pain, Insanity. Some nice minimalist artwork. The Germans really seem to love those kinds of shiny logos, and so do I, so, you know, maybe I'm German somewhere back along the line, but yeah, really cool. This was another blind buy, same record shop, Beatniks here in Norwich, if you guys ever visit this tiny city for any good reason. Beatniks is about as good of a reason as it gets to visit. Or if for whatever reason you want to meet me, that's quite a good place to find me. If you're going to stalk, murder me, then maybe ignore the last bit and pretend I'm somewhere else. Yeah, Insanity by Pain. Great, old German, speedy heavy metal. Not much more to say about it other than it, you know, it's cool. I like it a lot. I'm sure they're German. I may have really fucked that up. Anyway, Overdose, Tight Action. This is a really good one. The opening track, Italian Stallion, is just a ridiculously fun. It feels like it could have been from some like B-roll 80s horror action thrillery type movie. You know, just the kind of heavy metal that you can imagine a car chase happening to if the logo, that kind of aviation style, didn't give away. Again, this and Pain, they're not too different, and I don't mean just because they have the big shiny logos taking up like 60% of the artwork. They have a similar charm. I can feel my throat dying on me because I came back with the Keep It True flu, I guess. So if my voice gives out, then you can just look at some cool covers. Next we have Syron Veins, I think is how you say this one. I got this one in a trade with a friend, so thank you if you are watching. I got rid of some of my own vinyl of one of my bands in return for this, and that's a great thing for me because it means I don't have to have as many of my own records cluttering up the place, and I get some cool Swedish heavy metal. Now, if you like Swedish metal, I guess the obvious one would be Heavy Load. This is a bit more continental, I guess, sounding, but I mean, the opening track's called Sound of Metal. Running Wild, where's that? It's the closing song, actually. I think Running Wild is one of the coolest Swedish heavy metal songs from this era of the underground. It's one of those, much like One Shot of Glory, that just makes you want to listen to the album again. There's a bit of like a, no, I'm not done having fun with this yet, and it really works brilliantly. Cool cover artwork. It looks like they've actually put quite a lot of effort into getting an actual artist rather than just a friend to do this. Yeah, I love how that one looks. Now we have Destiny. I forget where they're from, so I can't say that. I'm going to hazard a guess that they're Swedish as well, or maybe German. I'm just going to Metal Archives it, so if you're looking up my nose, then I can only apologise. Okay, they're from Sweden. Cool. So yeah, they play, I guess, like power thrash. I guess think of, it's just straight, fast, good heavy metal. it's a bit weird. I love this cover art. It reminds me of Warlock's first album. But yeah, really cool. I don't know if they're still... No. Oh, they are still active, actually. That surprises me. But yeah, they're from Gothenburg. They're just nice and melodic, good, heavy, kind of sometimes thrashy, sometimes a bit more kind of powery heavy metal. Last of the vinyl, which is probably one... This is the one that I'm thinking, oh, everyone's probably going to have. But it's Refuge Denied by Sanctuary. Really epic, influential album. There's not really too much to say about this that hasn't been said a billion times, but it's one of those albums that I think will always be like a timepiece where you listen to it and it takes you straight back to the heyday of these kinds of bands. There's not really a standout track, so just listen to this album because the whole thing is just great. I'm gonna put this one out and listen to this one next as well, so you know, I'm not just talking about these, I need to be listening to them as well. And now we have a few CDs to close out. So we have Crossfire from Belgium, of course representing the Belgian heavy metal scene by my friends Butcher. So thank you to you guys for this killer shirt and for a couple times crossing paths. Come back to the UK, motherfuckers. No, we have an old Belgian band, not this new one, which is definitely the best Belgian band around, I think, these days with Schizophrenia, but that's for another time. Crossfire with the Second Attack. Really great, really cool. Cult Belgian heavy metal, very anthemic, very memorable. They're one of those bands where I can't help but wonder if maybe they were German, they would have had a bit more success. But Mausoleum Records took care of them, and you know, you can still buy these albums. Nudie from Manila Road posted that there's like this box set of all their stuff on CD, which apparently these CDs don't have the full best quality, and they're now being released from the original masters. So maybe hang on and buy that box set, and you might get a nicer sounding version than me, perhaps. Do your own research, but yeah, just food for thought if you're thinking, oh, Crossfire is really my kind of thing. Really cool box set coming up soon. The other one that I think many of you will have, which is my favourite album by Thin Lizzy, the final album, Thunder and Lightning. The second song, This Is The One, there's something about that song, and I don't know if any of you guys share this, so maybe leave it in the comments below, but when I hear it, I wonder if Phil knew that he didn't have long left and just had to make the perfect album just because it had to be done before he died. And this is a perfect fucking heavy metal album as far as I'm concerned. You can argue until you like that Thin Lizzy is a rock band, a metal band, whatever you want to call them. They're just an amazing band. But to me, they made a defining heavy metal album before he sadly passed away, and what an album. But that song, it feels like there was some insight that maybe went into that song. There's something in the playing that just always sends chills down my spine, and yeah. I hope you guys will have that album, or at least have some Thin Lizzy to play nice and loud anyway. Next we have another German band. That really would have been an appropriate closing one. Maybe I should have done that. But let's also dedicate this to Thin Lizzy as well, as Gord. But we have Blind Guardian, Battalions of Fear. Now, this is one of those bands that started out as more of a speed and power metal band before becoming the kind of symphonic giant that they are today. Make of that what you will. I don't really have any of their post-2000 stuff, so I'm probably not a good person to discuss this with. But this album, much like the first Halloween album, is much more in the speed camp of power metal than the more symphonic stuff that they went on to do. And it is just blindingly good. Like, the opening track, Majesty, is about as epic gets. I just love this album. There's a small part of me, I think every band should do what's right for them, and good for Blind Guardian. They've become a massive success, but I would love to know what would have happened if they'd have stayed this way. Last two now, we have Savage, who were meant to play Keep It True. And I actually learnt of them from the fact that they were going to play, and sadly they didn't, because their member had a heart attack and he's not made in... I don't believe he's passed, but I believe his recovery has not been to a point where he's fit to tour, which is a real shame. So get well, dude, and hopefully we can see you on the road one day. But Loose and Lethal is a gem of British heavy metal that's definitely worth a listen, even though we can't get to see them live this year. We can listen to this nice and loud and Imagine, and it's a really cool album. And it has a cool motorcycle looking thing on the cover, which is great. And last, one more, again, that I think is a bit less underground and obscure, but Hyrax, this is actually the first two albums put together. Once again, love it when they do this with the full-size artwork, no tiny bit in the corner, and I have to bust out my monocle. But yeah, Hyrax, essential thrash metal, I would hope for many of you guys. Maybe a little bit crossover. There's definitely some hardcore, like good hardcore, not the other kind, the cool hardcore. Just really is a wonderful band of just pure, extreme, hyper fast, thrashing, evil. Yeah, it's just great. This is like 22 songs, but it's only like 40 minutes, and that gives you a good idea. It's like almost grindcore speeds, but with just riffy, thrashing goodness. I like to think you guys have this one. So, that is Relic Razor part, I think 7 maybe. I kind of delayed this one because I was weighing up which ones to put in this and the next part, because I have a lot of stuff for these videos, but I want them to work well together. But I hope you guys agree that this has been a really good collection of records to talk about. Some of them are relatively new to me. Some of them I've had for 10 plus years, I imagine. I've already forgotten which ones I've had for a long time. But yeah, lots in here to play loud, especially like this series is mostly for old gems from the past. So yeah, check this stuff out. It's the exact kind of stuff I think a lot of which you are not going to have to pay much money for if you dig through crates as well. So you don't have to, you know, be in a financial position of being rich to just get a couple of these and just go back to the 80s when heavy metal was you know, in its making of just going in all these different directions. There's a lot to discover, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the tunes. Until next time, stay heavy.